Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a wild story. It's about how a single dispute over one cricket player completely spiraled out of control. We're talking about an international firestorm that put a major tournament, a $500 million match, and, get this, even a nation's Olympic dream on the line.
And this quote, this one right here from a Bangladeshi journalist, it really cuts right to the heart of it all. That feeling of being unfairly targeted, that's what lit the fuse on this whole thing. So we're going to unpack exactly what that means. But first, let's go back to the very beginning to see how this all kicked off.
You know, it's almost unbelievable when you think about it. This massive global controversy. We're talking multiple nations, the highest levels of sports government. It all started with just one player. His removal from a team was literally the first domino to fall in a chain reaction that would completely upend the world of cricket.
So, who was the player? It was Mustafizur Rahman, a superstar bowler from Bangladesh playing in the super popular Indian Premier League. Out of nowhere, his team announces he's been released, and the instruction came directly from India's powerhouse cricket board, the BCCI. The official reason they gave? Security issues. And those two words, security issues, they would become the trigger for everything that was about to happen.
Okay, so that move, removing that single player, it escalated things, and it escalated them fast. The Bangladesh Cricket Board, the BCB, they saw this as a massive slap in the face. They started questioning if it was even safe for their players to be in India. And just like that, the stage was set for a major showdown with the sport's global governing body, the International Cricket Council, or the ICC.
And man, did both sides dig in their heels. On one side, you had Bangladesh demanding that all of its World Cup matches be moved out of India, citing those security concerns, but also national dignity. On the other side, the ICC just pushed back hard. They did their own security check, said they found no credible threat, and absolutely refused to change the schedule. They were worried it would set a really dangerous precedent. So what you had was a complete and total standoff. And then the bombshell dropped. With Bangladesh refusing to back down, the ICC did something pretty much unheard of. They kicked a full member nation, a major team, right out of the World Cup, just weeks before it was supposed to start. And they replaced them with Scotland. I mean, the decision sent absolute shockwaves through the cricket world. But believe it or not, the real consequences were only just getting started.
So one of the most immediate and frankly surprising impacts wasn't on the players or even the administrators. It was on the media. An entire country's press corps suddenly found themselves caught right in the middle of this political crossfire, totally unable to do their jobs.
We're talking about more than 100 Bangladeshi journalists. 100. All of them suddenly had their media accreditations for the World Cup rejected by the ICC. Just think about that for a second. A whole press contingent, packed and ready to cover the biggest event in their sport, and suddenly the door is slammed shut. And this quote from sports editor Alpan Tarek really drives the point home. He's talking about a colleague who'd covered 12 ICC events, and this was the first time in his entire career he'd been rejected. We're not talking about rookies here. These were seasoned veterans who had covered countless tournaments. You can just imagine the shock and disbelief that spread through that community.
And this is really the key to why it felt so personal. As Tariq points out, Bangladeshi journalists had covered World Cups before, even when their own team wasn't even playing. So this mass rejection, it didn't feel like a simple paperwork issue. To them, it felt like punishment, a direct consequence of their cricket board's boycott.
Right when you think this crisis couldn't possibly get any bigger, another major cricketing power decides to jump into the fray. And of course, it had to be Pakistan, India's biggest rival. They saw what was happening with Bangladesh and decided, nope, we have to take a stand here. And their move was, you could say, a strategic masterstroke of protest. Pakistan announced they would still play in the World Cup, but they would boycott the single most watched, most lucrative, most commercially valuable match in all of world cricket, their game against India. It was a clear act of solidarity with Bangladesh, and it was designed to hit the ICC and India right where it hurts the most, their wallet.
Pakistan's cricket chairman, Mohsin Naqvi, he laid it out very clearly. He framed this whole protest as a stand against what he called blatant double standards. The very core of their argument was that the ICC was playing by two different sets of rules, one for the incredibly powerful Indian board and a much, much tougher set for everybody else.
And this is the evidence they pointed to. I mean, look at this. Just a year earlier, in 2025, India refused to send its team to Pakistan for the Champions Trophy. And what did the ICC do? They bent over backwards to accommodate them, arranging for matches at neutral venues. Fast forward to 2026.
Bangladesh makes a similar request over security concerns in India. The ICC's response? They refuse, and they kick them out of the tournament. For Pakistan, and for a lot of critics, this was the smoking gun, clear proof of hypocrisy.
All right, so now we get to the final and maybe the most significant piece of fallout from Pakistan's boycott, the absolutely staggering financial and, yes, political consequences of canceling just one single game of cricket.
So let's just ask that question, right? What is the real cost of canceling the world's biggest cricket match? Because when India and Pakistan play, it is so much more than just a game. It's a global TV event, it's a massive economic engine. So what happens when you just, poof, wipe it off the calendar?
$500 billion. Let that sink in. $500 million. That is the estimated commercial loss from canceling this one match. That covers everything: broadcast rights, advertising, sponsorships, tickets. It's an almost unimaginable amount of money that just vanished.
And that financial damage isn't just contained to the big players. Oh no, the broadcasters take a massive, massive hit. The ICC's central pot of money shrinks. The Indian and Pakistani boards themselves lose huge sums. But here's the crucial part. That loss trickles down. All the smaller cricketing nations that rely on that ICC funding, well, they get less money. So the entire global ecosystem of the sport ends up feeling the pain.
But, and this is the final kind of mind-bending twist in all this, the fallout from this one cricket dispute could actually threaten one of India's biggest, most important geopolitical ambitions, its bid to host the 2036 Olympic Games. And here's why that's a real possibility. The International Olympic Committee, the IOC, has an absolute zero-tolerance policy for political interference in sports. There's even a very recent precedent for this. Indonesia's hopes of hosting were basically put on ice after they got into a visa dispute over an Israeli team. An inside source was quoted as saying it's unthinkable the IOC would ever award the games to a country where there was even a remote danger of politically motivated boycotts. Which leaves us with this one final, really provocative question. Could a feud that all started with a single cricketer end up costing an entire nation its Olympic dream?